Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to be 3D modeling this object. So far we have learned how to use construction lines to place a plane at a unique spot on an object, and this is yet again another example of that. So in this case, it kind of gives you a little bit of a box look, like a construction box, and it gives you some angles and stuff like that. It says like this is view A going down through, and obviously we're going to be drawing on side B. That's this little angled piece. So this part in general is actually a pretty easy part to draw. It's just this kind of cutout here that is a bit unique. So we're going to be starting out by drawing on our front plane because the origin is right here. We're going to draw this whole weird shape, then we'll cut the hole through, make our sketch, make a plane, and then cut this down through. So this is in millimeters, so make sure you have your units in that. And if you have the ability of pulling this to the other screen, I would highly recommend doing so. But this is the object when it's all finished. So as you can kind of see, the majority of this looks pretty easy. It's this weird trapezoidal cut is this strange part. So my sketch is actually just kind of two lines. My plane itself goes right through that top line. And then as you can kind of see, my top sketch is this trapezoid that we cut all the way through. So let's start out by making a new part. And this is going to be in millimeters again, so make sure you change that. And we're going to be sketching on the front plane. So first I'm going to go and get my midpoint line, select my origin, and draw straight over. And then it's just got a line straight up, straight over again. I want to zoom out a little bit. It's got a line that again goes straight up and then kind of on a weird angle. Perpendicular line that comes down, so make sure yours is 90 degrees like this, straight back down, and then similar to the other side, over and down. So that's kind of what this looks like. Now we just need to figure out the dimensions. So I'm going to start with the biggest dimension first, and that's from this side to this side, so the overall width, and that is a measurement of 54. Then the base or the bottom of it is 28. Says this piece is 13. So that'll shift it left and right. And then it says this little vertical is 6. So it doesn't give a measurement for this other side, so we kind of have to assume that this is also 6. So you can either dimension that to 6, or you can do what I'm doing and hitting escape, selecting this line, and we're going to make them collinear. Another way would be to make these two lines vertical or equal to one another. Same thing, just multiple different ways of doing it. It also shows from the very bottom to the very, very top, so that would be this point up here, is a total of 78. And at this point, you still have some things that are blue. Even though this is perpendicular, it's underdefined, meaning it can move left or right. So if you look at your picture, it shows that it has a little measurement of a 19, because this is kind of like in a box, like in a construction box. So it's saying from the far left side to the point is 19. And then this line down is actually 50 degrees. 50 degrees. So we're going to select this line and the point. We're going to make that 19 first. Then the common mistake would be to click this line and make it 50 in here. But it's not actually 50 that way. It's 50 from straight across down. So you're going to need to get the line tool and check the box for construction. We're going to go right off of this point and straight over and just hit escape. So notice we have a construction line up here. It doesn't matter where this thing ends because construction lines don't really count for anything. But we can use that as a measurement tool. So we're going to get our measurement or our smart dimension tool, select the construction line and this angled line, and that's the 50 degrees that we want. So now it is all fully defined. From here we can go to the Features tab and hit Extrude, and we're going to send this backwards, and it has a total distance of 83. Green check. Then we can sketch over here on this side piece, and we're going to rotate around by hitting Control 8, and we're going to cut this hole through it. So we're going to use the circle tool, draw a circle. We can dimension that. That circle from the left side over is 23. And then we need the size of it and the height up from the bottom. So I'm going to pull my sketch back over here, and you can kind of see it says 16. That's not actually 16 from the bottom, it's 16 from this line right here, okay, which is like that corner point. So 16 up, and it says it has a diameter of 18. And it says drill on there, so drill means it's going to go all the way through. So 18 is its size, and from the circle to this line, not the very, very bottom, is 16. Okay, now that that's all drawn, we can extrude cut, and we're going to send this through all, rotate around so we make sure it's going the correct way, and it is. So green check. All right, so we got all the easy stuff done. This is where I would recommend saving, because we are going to be making a plane soon, and sometimes your computer does not like that. So let's get the sketch tool after you've saved it, and we're going to sketch on this angled surface here. I'm going to hit Control 8 so it rotates around for us. And here I want the line tool, and I'm going to set this to for construction. And I'm going to just kind of start by clicking down in here somewhere, go up to the top, and then I want to make a perpendicular line all the way down to the bottom. Green check. Now, because I went over too far here, I didn't actually connect to this line. So if I select that dot, hold in Shift and click that line, I'm going to make that coincident. So now it'll slide over. And it also did not make this perpendicular, so you might need to go back in and make sure that this is perpendicular by selecting both lines and setting it to perpendicular. So once you have those in, it should be okay. So from here, we have some measurements that we need to do. And looking at the sketch itself, you can see that from the bottom point to over to this line is 22. That's pretty obvious. It also shows that the construction line to a vertical line, which we don't have a vertical line here, but we do have this vertical line. It says that that is 32. And then the only thing that's still underdefined is this point. Okay, so we need to select this little line, and the length of that is actually seen in our other sketch up here in this small detailed view. So we're drawing the top of this trapezoid because we're drawing on this surface, not down inside. So the top of that trapezoid says it's 14 from here to here. Okay, so 14, we're going to make this. Now it's fully defined. So from here we can hit return from sketch, and we need to make a plane. So let's go over to the features tab, reference geometry plane. We're going to select that little line and then this surface as our second reference, and it's going to cut right through that line. So green check. We can now sketch on that plane, and you might need to hit Control 8 to rotate around to a good view. This is a hard one to see, so if you hit Control 8 again, it rotates to the other side, which is the top. So it's still on a strange view because we're cutting at a very, very strange angle, but you can see the two little gray dots here, and if you rotate just slightly, you can see the construction line that we drew. I'm going to use my line tool, and I'm going to draw a trapezoid. And it's not going to connect to anything right now, so just draw your trapezoid in, something like this, and afterwards we will fix that thing up. Okay, so we have our trapezoid. You want to zoom in here and you want to select this point, hold in Shift and select the point right there. And we're actually going to make these pierce. So that's making it coincident, but connecting it to the other sketch. So it pierced it. We're going to do that over here as well. Select that dot, hold in Shift, select this dot, and hit pierce. And now that top line is a measurement of 14. So that's already set. We don't actually have to measure that. You can see it's fully defined. Both of these angled pieces we can select and we can set those to equal. So the length of them are always going to be equal. This bottom line, we want to make sure that it's a horizontal line. And if I dimension some stuff in here, this is going to be 60 degrees. So select from there to there, set that to 60. And the only other thing is this blue line. So that blue line is saying how far down is that? So from the top to here is our measurement. Now, the picture itself or our sketch that we're looking off of, for some odd reason, they rotated the measurement. So it looks like an equal sign, but if you rotate your head, it's actually an 11. Okay, so that measurement here is going to be 11. All right, so now it's fully defined. So from here, we can go to the Features tab and hit Extrude Cut. And since we're inside of our object, we need to set this to through all both. Okay, so it goes both ways. And you can see that strange cut of how it's cutting through there. Hit the green check. You now have your strange cut that's cut down through. If you want to turn off the plane, you can just right click and hit hide. You can do the same thing with the sketch if that bothers you. We're going to set our materials, and your material is actually in the steel folder. It's AISI 304, so that would be right here in the steel folder. Hit apply and close. Let's evaluate this and see what our mass is, and our mass should actually be 1867.73 grams. If you got that, you can save this and move on to the next one. If you didn't, continue to problem solve until you have that correct. Good luck.